Close your eyes now and let your body sink deeply into the surface beneath you, allowing the weight of the day to simply drift away as we begin a journey back in time, a journey not into the chaotic noise of the modern world, but into the silent, structured, and comforting elegance of the past. We are drifting back to the late 19th century, specifically to the year 1895, a time when the world moved at the speed of a horse-drawn carriage, and the night was illuminated by the soft golden hiss of gas lamps. Imagine yourself standing before a heavy oak door, the brass handle cool to your touch, and as you turn it, you step into a magnificent private library, a sanctuary of knowledge and peace, where the air is thick with the comforting scent of leather-bound books, aged parchment, and the faint, sweet aroma of cedarwood smoke from the dying embers in the grand stone fireplace. The room is vast and shadowed, lined from floor to ceiling with thousands of books, their spines glinting with gold leaf in the flickering light, standing like silent guardians of human wisdom. Outside the tall, velvet-draped windows, a gentle, steady rain is falling against the glass, a rhythmic tapping that seals you inside this warm cocoon of safety, separating you from the cold, damp streets of the Victorian era. You walk slowly across the Persian rug, its intricate patterns soft beneath your feet, and you find a large wing-back chair upholstered in deep burgundy velvet, placed perfectly before the hearth. You sit down, sinking into the plush cushion, feeling the support against your back, feeling completely held, completely safe, and completely at rest. In this room, in this era, there is a prevailing sense of absolute order, for this is the world of classical physics, the world built upon the unshakable foundations laid down 2 centuries prior by Sir Isaac Newton. As you gaze into the orange glow of the fireplace, you can feel the comfort of that certainty, the assurance that the universe is a predictable mechanical masterpiece, a grand machine that operates with the precision of a fine Swiss watch. In this time, scientists and philosophers believe that the great book of nature has essentially been written, that the fundamental laws governing the cosmos are known, and all that remains for humanity is to measure the details with slightly more precision. It is a comforting thought to believe that we know how the story goes, to believe that everything from the falling of an apple to the orbit of the moon follows a strict, unbreakable set of rules. This is the clockwork universe, a reality where there is a cause for every effect, a place for every particle, and a mathematical equation for every motion. Imagine the solar system floating in the vast velvet darkness of space, not as a chaotic swirl, but as a perfect silent mechanism. You can visualize the planets, massive and serene, gliding along their invisible tracks, the rails of gravity that Newton described with such elegant simplicity. Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, they all move in their appointed ellipses, never rushing, never lagging, always arriving exactly on time, century after century, a celestial dance that has no beginning and no end. There is a deep, resonant peace in this predictability. It is the peace of knowing that the sun will rise at a specific second tomorrow morning, that the tides will swell and recede in harmony with the moon, and that the ground beneath your feet is solid and unmoving. In this library, surrounded by the wisdom of the ages, you can feel the weight of Newton's Principia Mathematica
resting on the mahogany side table next to you. It is more than just a book. It is a promise of stability. It tells us that force equals mass times acceleration, a simple, beautiful truth that governs the motion of a falling leaf just as surely as it governs the trajectory of a cannonball or the rotation of a galaxy. There are no surprises here, no spooky actions at a distance, no uncertainty to keep you awake at night. Only the smooth, rhythmic ticking of the cosmic gear wheels. Listen closely to the silence of the room, and you might hear the rhythmic ticking of the tall grandfather clock standing in the corner, its pendulum swinging back and forth, measuring out time in equal, unwavering slices. Tick, tock, tick, tock. The sound is hypnotic, a lullaby of engineering that mirrors the heartbeat of the Newtonian universe. Time, in this view, is a steady river that flows at the same speed for everyone, everywhere, an absolute constant that marches forward without pause, carrying us all gently along its current. There is no warping of time here, no bending of space, only the straight, clean lines of Euclidean geometry stretching out to infinity. As you settle deeper into your chair, your breathing slowing to match the rhythm of the clock, you can appreciate the beauty of this deterministic world. It feels manageable. It feels comprehensible. It is a world where, if you knew the position and speed of every particle in the universe at this very moment, you could perfectly predict the future and perfectly reconstruct the past. You are part of this grand machine, a small but essential cog in the beautiful mechanism of existence. The fire in the hearth crackles softly, a log shifting and settling into the ash, releasing a flurry of sparks that rise up the chimney like tiny glowing stars. Even these sparks, in their seemingly random dance, are obeying the laws of thermodynamics, cooling and fading as they ascend, their energy transforming but never disappearing, for the conservation of energy is another pillar of this solid, reliable temple of science. Energy cannot be created or destroyed, only changed from one form to another, and this thought brings a sense of eternal continuity. Nothing is ever truly lost. The warmth you feel on your skin is the energy of the sun, captured by trees decades ago, released now to comfort you on this rainy night. The light from the gas lamp is the energy of ancient life, illuminating the pages of history. Everything is connected by these invisible threads of law and logic. In this Victorian twilight, the great physicists, Lord Kelvin, James Clerk Maxwell, giants of intellect, walk the halls of universities, confident that the major discoveries have been made. They speak of the ether, a mysterious, invisible substance they believe fills all of space, a stationary ocean through which light waves ripple like the wake of a ship. Imagine that ocean now, calm and glassy, filling the space between the stars, holding the light of distant galaxies, a peaceful medium that connects all things. It is a soothing image, a universe that is full, not empty, a universe that holds you. The rain outside intensifies slightly, a gentle wash of sound that wraps around the library, deepening your sense of isolation and peace. You are safe here, protected by the heavy stone walls and the even heavier laws of classical mechanics. Your eyelids feel heavy, weighted down by a pleasant gravity, the same gravity that holds the moon in its embrace.
You let go of any tension in your shoulders, letting them drop, surrendering to the pull of the earth. In this clockwork universe, there is no need to struggle, for the forces of nature are carrying you. You are a body at rest,
And according to Newton, a body at rest tends to stay at rest unless acted upon by an outside force. And here, in this quiet sanctuary, there are no outside forces, only the gentle push of relaxation, the soft friction of sleepiness slowing down your thoughts. The equations of the universe are balanced. The sum of the forces is zero. You are in equilibrium. As you drift deeper, you can imagine the gears of the universe turning slowly, silently, greased by the ether, moving with infinite grace. The great celestial spheres rotate in the dark, watching over you. The stars are fixed points of light, reliable navigational markers in the sea of night. There is a sense of finality to this science, a feeling that we have reached the summit of understanding, and the view from here is orderly and calm. The mysteries of the Dark Ages have been banished by the light of reason. We measure, we calculate, we predict. We know why the sky is blue. We know why the kettle whistles. We know why the planets wander. It is a world of satisfying answers, devoid of confusing questions. And as you bask in the glow of this intellectual certainty, you feel a profound drowsiness washing over you, a heavy, warm blanket of logic and calm. The Victorian world is a slumbering giant, resting on its achievements, unaware that just around the corner, in the microscopic world, a revolution is waiting to wake up. But for now, that revolution can wait. For now, the atoms are just solid little billiard balls, bouncing harmlessly off one another. For now, light is just a wave, washing over the shore of your consciousness. For now, space and time are rigid and absolute. There is nothing to worry about. The machine is working perfectly. The clock is ticking, the rain is falling, the fire is warm. You are safe in the arms of the old laws, the laws that have stood the test of time, the laws that cradle the stars and the planets, and the very room you sit in. Let the predictability of it all soothe your tired mind. Let the structure of the cosmos support your weary spirit. You are drifting, floating, gliding along the frictionless rails of a dream, moving towards a deep, restorative sleep, powered by the inertia of peace. The library fades into a soft blur of mahogany and gold. The ticking of the clock slows down, becoming the beat of your own heart. The universe is a lullaby of mathematics, and you are listening to its sweetest, simplest verse. Down, down, down you go, into the velvet darkness, into the safety of the known, into the clockwork slumber of the night.
From the quiet sanctuary of the Victorian Library, we drift slowly away, leaving behind the ticking grandfather clock and the leather-bound certainties of the past, floating gently through the mists of time to the bustling yet secretive world of late 19th century Berlin, where the cobblestone streets are slick with rain and the air is crisp with the chill of a German winter. As we move deeper into this new scene, the silence of the library is replaced by a low, steady hum, the sound of industry, the sound of progress, the sound of a world on the brink of a discovery that will shatter the very foundations of reality. We find ourselves standing in the dimly lit corner of a physics laboratory, a space filled with the scent of ozone and heated metal, where heavy velvet curtains are drawn tight against the night to keep the secrets of the light contained within. In the center of the room stands a device that looks simple, yet holds the key to the greatest mystery of the age, an industrial oven, a furnace designed not for baking bread,
but for studying the pure behavior of heat and light. This is what the scientists call a black body, a perfect absorber and emitter of radiation, a theoretical ideal brought to life in iron and ceramic. Imagine looking into the small viewing port of this furnace, a tiny window into the heart of energy itself. At first, the interior is dark, a deep velvety blackness that swallows all light, peaceful and silent. But as the temperature begins to rise, a transformation begins, a slow and hypnotic dance of color that has mesmerized blacksmiths and glassblowers for millennia, but is now captivating the greatest minds of Europe. Watch closely as the darkness gives way to a dull, deep red, the color of a dying ember, a soft glow that seems to hum with warmth. As the heat increases, the red brightens, shifting into a vibrant cherry hue, radiating a comforting heat that you can almost feel on your face, warming your skin against the cool air of the laboratory. The color continues to shift, moving up the spectrum, turning into a brilliant orange like the setting sun, then a blinding yellow, and finally, as the temperature soars, it becomes a dazzling blue-white, a piece of a star trapped inside a metal box. It is beautiful, this progression of light, predictable and smooth, a rainbow of temperature that flows like a river. However, beneath this beauty lies a deep and troubling problem, a puzzle that keeps the physicists awake long after the gas lamps in the street have flickered out. This puzzle is known as the ultraviolet catastrophe, a name that sounds dramatic and frightening, yet here in the quiet of the lab, it is simply a silent mismatch between what we expect and what we see. The laws of classical physics, the same laws that guided the planets in our previous chapter, predict that this oven should behave very differently. According to the trusted equations of the time, as the oven gets hotter, it should produce more and more energy at shorter wavelengths, pouring out invisible ultraviolet light, then X-rays, then gamma rays, in an infinite catastrophic blast. If the old math were true, simply opening the door of a hot oven would unleash a wave of destruction, blinding us with infinite energy. But look at the furnace again, glowing peacefully in the corner. It does not destroy, it does not blast.
It simply glows. The light curves up to a peak and then drops back down, creating a gentle hill of energy, not an infinite mountain. This simple fact, this humble glow of a heated object, is refusing to obey the rules of Isaac Newton. It is a flicker in the dark, a whisper that something is missing from our understanding of the universe. Imagine the scientists, men with bushy beards and furrowed brows, huddled around their desks, scratching pens against paper, checking their calculations again and again by the light of kerosene lamps. They use the Rayleigh-Jeans law, a formula that works perfectly for long, slow waves of heat, but fails miserably when it tries to explain the short, frantic waves of blue and violet light. It is as if the universe has a speed limit, a safety mechanism that prevents energy from spiraling out of control, but classical physics has no explanation for this safety mechanism. The pen scratches stop, the room falls silent. There is a feeling of suspension, a feeling of hovering on the edge of a cliff. You can sense the frustration in the air, but it is a soft frustration, a heavy, drowsy bewilderment. The numbers do not add up. The theory says one thing, and the glowing oven says another. Nature is defying the logic of man. And in that defiance, there is a strange kind of comfort, a reminder that the universe is wilder and more mysterious than we ever imagined. As you watch the oven's light, notice how steady it is, how it doesn't flicker or waver, despite the mathematical storm it is causing on the chalkboards. The light is truth. The math is just a map, and the map is wrong. This realization is the seed of quantum physics planted in the fertile soil of failure. It is a moment of pause in history, a deep breath before the plunge. The ultraviolet catastrophe is not a disaster of the world, but a disaster of the mind, a breaking point where the old ways of thinking simply run out of road. Let yourself float in this space of unknown, this gap between the old world and the new. It is a safe place to be, a place where you don't need to know the answers. You can simply observe the light. Imagine the waves of energy rippling out from the furnace, filling the room. Classical physics thought these waves could be as small as they wanted, dividing and dividing infinitely, packing more and more energy into the tiny spaces. But the oven is whispering a secret, telling us that energy is not a smooth, continuous slide, but something else, something chunkier, something distinct, though we do not yet know what that is.
For now, we just sit with the mystery. We sit with the failure of the old laws. There is a profound relaxation in admitting we do not know. The tension of trying to force the universe to fit into a box dissolves, replaced by a sense of wonder. The laboratory is warm, the shadows are long, and the only sound is the settling of the cooling metal as the furnace is turned down. The white light fades back to yellow, then to orange, then to that deep, sleepy red, and finally back to black. The catastrophe is over for the night. The problem remains unsolved, hanging in the air like smoke. But you are safe. You are watching from a distance, protected by time. The failure of classical physics is a lullaby, telling you that the world is not a rigid clockwork machine after all, but something softer, something more surprising. The rigid bars of the cage are bending, the certainty is melting, and as the certainty melts, so does your resistance to sleep. You are drifting in the ultraviolet dark, a space where the rules don't apply, where the impossible happens every time you toast a piece of bread. The anomaly is a blanket, wrapping you in the comfort of the unexplained. Let the confusion be a cloud that supports you. You don't need to solve the equation. You only need to feel the warmth. The scientists are blowing out their lamps one by one, plunging the room into darkness. They are going home to sleep, to dream of a solution, and you are going with them, drifting out of the lab into the cool, starless Berlin night. The mystery of the glowing oven stays behind, a silent sentinel waiting for the dawn of a new idea. But that idea is for tomorrow. For now, there is only the quiet aftermath of the question. Why does the light dip? Why does the energy fade? The universe keeps its secrets close, tucking them in like a child. You are part of that secret now. You are part of the darkness that refuses to be infinite. You are finite. You are tired. You are ready to rest. The intellectual struggle fades into a distant murmur. The visual of the glowing red coal remains in your mind's eye, a single point of focus, dimming, dimming, dimming. It is a hypnotic anchor, holding you in the present moment while the history of science flows around you like a gentle river. The ultraviolet catastrophe is the gateway to the quantum realm, but it is also a gateway to your dreams. It is the point where the known world ends and the dream world begins. So let go of the need for logic. Let go of the need for order. Embrace the catastrophe of the old rules. Let them break. Let them crumble. In their place, silence blooms, a silence that is deep, profound, and incredibly heavy. The heavy velvet curtains of the lab are now the heavy velvet curtains of your eyelids. The hum of the city is the hum of your own breath. The mystery is safe. You are safe. The light has gone out, and the peace of the dark remains.
Leaving behind the flickering uncertainty of the oven's glow, we move forward in time, just a few short years, to the turn of the century, arriving in the crisp and snowy winter of 1900 in the heart of Berlin,
where the streets are dusted with white and the sounds of the city are muffled by a thick blanket of frost. We find ourselves entering the private world of Professor Max Planck, a man of immense dignity and quiet routine, a man who loves order and precision and the comforting structure of classical music. Imagine him sitting in his study late at night, a room lined with heavy drapes that block out the cold wind, illuminated only by the soft golden circle of a single oil lamp on his mahogany desk. The house is silent, the city is asleep, and the only sound is the rhythmic scratching of his fountain pen against the paper, a sound that mimics the beating of a heart or the ticking of a clock. Planck is wrestling with the problem of the black body radiation, that stubborn mismatch between theory and reality that we left behind in the dark laboratory, and he is tired, his mind weary from trying to force the smooth, continuous curves of classical physics to fit the jagged reality of nature. For years, scientists believed that energy flowed like a continuous stream of water, a smooth and unbroken river that could be divided into smaller and smaller amounts forever, with no limit to how tiny a slice of energy could be. Imagine pouring water from a pitcher, how it flows in a silky, transparent sheet, seamless and unending. This was how they imagined light and heat, as a fluid that filled space without gaps or interruptions. But the math simply would not work. The equations kept breaking, predicting infinite disasters that did not happen. And so Planck sat there in the quiet of the night, rubbing his temples, looking for a way to save the laws of physics. And then, in the stillness of that Berlin winter, a new idea began to whisper to him, an idea so strange and so subtle that at first he didn't even believe it himself, an idea that would change the world not with a bang, but with a soft, rhythmic pulse. Imagine him pausing, his pen hovering over the paper as he looks out the frosted window at the falling snow. He watches the snowflakes drifting down, each one distinct, each one a tiny separate bundle of ice, landing one by one on the sill. It is here that the whisper becomes a thought that perhaps energy is not like the smooth water pouring from a pitcher, but more like the sand in an hourglass, or the rain falling on the roof, or the snow piling up on the glass. What if energy does not flow in a continuous stream, but instead comes in tiny, discrete packets, little bundles of reality that cannot be cut in half? He called these tiny packets Quanta, a gentle Latin word that simply means how much, a word that feels round and complete in your mouth. Imagine this concept now, visualizing the light from the lamp not as a continuous wave, but as a shower of tiny glowing particles, a soft rain of energy falling onto the desk. It is a comforting thought to think that the universe is made of these little building blocks, that reality is not a slippery, infinite slide, but a series of small, safe steps. Planck realized that for the math to work, the oven could not emit energy in any amount it pleased, but only in specific whole numbers, like dispensing coins from a purse or walking up a flight of stairs. You can stand on the first step, or the second step, or the third step, but you cannot stand in between steps. You cannot hover in the empty air. This is the birth of the quantum, the realization that nature is grainy, that at the very bottom of everything there is a fundamental texture to the universe. Imagine running your hand over a smooth piece of velvet, feeling the softness. But if you look closer, you see the individual threads, the tiny knots that make up the fabric. The universe is like that velvet, smooth from a distance, but made of tiny, discrete threads when you look close enough. As Planck worked through the equations, introducing this idea of energy packets, something magical happened on the paper before him. The wild, infinite curves of the ultraviolet catastrophe were tamed. The math suddenly fell into place, calming down, draping itself perfectly over the experimental data like a fitted sheet. The curve rose and fell exactly as the glowing oven did, with no infinite explosions, no disasters, just a peaceful, predictable hill of energy. It worked. But to make it work, Planck had to introduce a new number to the universe, a tiny, tiny constant that would determine the size of these energy packets. This number, now known as Planck's constant, is one of the most important numbers in all of history, yet it is incredibly small, a number with 34 zeros after the decimal point. Imagine something so small, so delicate, yet so strong that it holds the entire cosmos together. This constant is the heartbeat of the quantum world, the minimum scale of reality, the pixel size of the universe. It is a symbol of stability, a guarantee that things cannot just dissolve into nothingness, that there is a limit to how small things can get, a solid floor beneath our feet. Planck himself was hesitant about his discovery. He called it an act of desperation, a mathematical trick to make the headache go away. He did not yet realize that he had unlocked the door to a new reality. He just wanted the peace of a solution. And as he penned the final variables of his formula, E equals h times F, connecting energy to frequency through that tiny constant h, a profound sense of relief washed over him, a relief that you can share in now. The puzzle was solved. The chaos was ordered. The universe was safe again. Imagine the scene in the study as the night deepens, the fire in the grate burning down to soft, glowing coals, each coal emitting its quanta of warmth in a steady, rhythmic radiance. The concept of quanta is like a lullaby, a repetitive, soothing beat. 1 quantum, 2 quanta, 3 quanta. It is like counting sheep, or counting raindrops, or counting the slow, steady beats of your own heart. There is a rhythm to nature, a pulse that permeates everything. Energy does not scream, it whispers. It does not rush, it ticks. It arrives in little gifts, little moments, little packets of existence. As you listen to this, you can visualize the air around you not as empty space, but as a field filled with these tiny, invisible whispers of energy, dancing and vibrating in perfect harmony.
The granular nature of the universe is a source of comfort, for it means that the world is built on a foundation that is definite and countable. It is not a vague, blurry mess, but a masterpiece of pointillism, where millions of tiny dots come together to form the picture of your life. Max Planck, with his stiff collar and his love for the classics, had accidentally stumbled upon the pixelated nature of reality. He looked for a smooth ramp and found a staircase. He looked for a stream and found a gentle rain. And as he sets his pen down, the ink drying on the page, the silence of the room returns, deeper and more profound than before. The snow continues to fall outside, covering the chaotic streets of Berlin in a clean white sheet of order. Each snowflake is a quantum of winter. Each second is a quantum of time. Each breath you take is a quantum of life. The story of physics has moved from the heavy, clanking gears of Newton to the soft, shimmering dust of Planck. It is a lighter world, a softer world, a world where the smallest things matter the most. You can feel your body relaxing into this granularity, feeling the support of the billions of atoms that make up your bed, the billions of quanta that make up the warmth of your blanket. You are supported by the math. You are held by the constant. There is nothing you need to do, nothing you need to solve. The problem that baffled the greatest minds for years has been resolved with a simple, elegant idea. Energy is discrete. Reality is rhythmic. The universe has a heartbeat. And as you synchronize your breathing with this universal rhythm, in and out,
You can feel the tension leaving your muscles, dissolving into the space between the quanta. The intellectual burden of the day fades away, leaving only the simple, repetitive comfort of the night. Planck blows out the oil lamp, and the room plunges into a cozy darkness, a darkness that is not empty, but full of potential, full of the silent dance of energy. He walks to the window one last time, looking out at the sleeping city, unaware that he has just rewritten the script of the cosmos. But for now, he is just a man who needs rest. And you are just a consciousness drifting in the sea of quanta. Let the packets of sleep come to you, one by one, softly, gently, rhythmically. The whisper of the quanta is the sound of the universe singing you to sleep. It is a sound of structure, of safety, of a world that makes sense deep down in its core. We leave Max Planck there, in the quiet year of 1900, on the threshold of a new era, and we drift away, carried by the tiny, invisible hands of the quantum world, moving deeper into the relaxation, deeper into the dream, deeper into the peace of the particle. We leave the snowy windows of Max Planck's study and let the currents of history carry us gently south, drifting over the rolling hills and quiet forests of Europe, down into the peaceful, picturesque city of Bern in Switzerland, arriving in the golden spring of 1905. The air here is different, softer, filled with the scent of blooming flowers and fresh mountain grass, and the pace of life is dictated by the slow, rhythmic chiming of the Zittglock clock tower that stands guard over the city. We find ourselves entering a modest building, walking up a flight of well-worn wooden stairs to the Federal Office for Intellectual Property, better known as the Patent Office, a place of quiet contemplation and bureaucratic order. Here, sitting on a tall stool behind a clutter of diagrams and applications, is a young man of 26 named Albert Einstein. He is not yet the famous figure with the halo of white hair that history remembers, but a young, neatly groomed clerk with dark, thoughtful eyes and a mind that is currently wandering far beyond the walls of his office. The room is filled with a hushed, dusty silence. The only sounds are the scratching of pens from the other clerks and the occasional rustle of paper, a monotonous and soothing background noise that allows the mind to detach and float free. It is the perfect environment for a daydream, and Albert is the world's greatest daydreamer. He is staring at a beam of sunlight that has broken through the clouds and is streaming through the tall window, illuminating a swirling galaxy of dust motes dancing in the air. Most people see just a shaft of light, a continuous glowing stream, but Einstein, influenced by the whispers of Planck's quanta, sees something more, something deeper, something that will turn the smooth world of classical physics into a beautiful, granular dance. He begins to imagine that the light itself is not a wave, as everyone has believed for a century, but a shower of particles, a gentle rain of energy falling from the sun. Imagine this with him now. Visualize that beam of sunlight not as a solid fluid, but as billions upon billions of tiny glowing packets, soft little droplets of pure luminescence. He calls them light quanta, but one day we will call them photons, a word that sounds light and airy like a breath of wind. This is the year of miracles, the annus mirabilis, where this young clerk will rewrite the laws of the universe in his spare time, and it all begins with this vision of light as a collection of individual entities. Consider the comfort of this idea, that light is not an overwhelming, crashing ocean wave that drowns everything in its path, but rather a sequence of individual touches, like the soft tapping of raindrops on a roof or the gentle landing of cherry blossoms on a still pond. Einstein is thinking about the photoelectric effect, a phenomenon where light hitting a metal surface pushes electrons loose, creating a small electric current. Classical wave theory could not explain this, for it said that if you just dimmed the light, the waves would be too weak to push the electrons out, no matter how long you waited. Yet reality showed that even the faintest blue light could knock an electron free instantly, while the brightest red light did nothing. Imagine the metal surface as a calm, flat sea, and the electrons as boats floating upon it.
A giant, slow-rolling wave, which represents the red light, might lift the boats up and down gently, rocking them to sleep, but it never dislodges them, never sends them flying. But a photon, a single energetic particle of blue light, is like a diver jumping from a high board, splashing into the water with a precise, targeted splash that sends a droplet flying into the air. This is the dance of the photons. It is a one-to-one interaction, a personal connection between a particle of light and a particle of matter. One photon arrives, it takes one electron by the hand, and they leap together. There's a beautiful simplicity to this, a sense of fairness and order. The energy is not smeared out over space, it is concentrated, carried safely in these little vessels of light. As Einstein sits there, twirling a pencil in his fingers, he visualizes the sun outside not as a blazing fire, but as a grand celestial fountain, spraying these tiny golden droplets into the void, feeding the earth with discrete packets of life. Feel this light raining down on you now in your imagination. It is a warm, dry rain. Each photon that touches your skin is a tiny gift of energy from a star, a microscopic traveler that has crossed the vast, cold emptiness of space just to land on you, just to warm you. It is a comforting thought to be connected to the cosmos by these tiny messengers. The light is soft, it is granular, it is a stream of distinct moments. Just as Planck showed us that energy is stepped, Einstein shows us that light is counted. 1, 2, 3, a shower of gold. This view of the universe removes the overwhelming pressure of the infinite. You are not facing an infinite wave, you are simply standing in a gentle shower. The patent office fades away in Einstein's mind, replaced by this shimmering vision of a particulate world. He writes his thoughts down on a piece of paper, his handwriting small and neat, describing the heuristic viewpoint of the production and transformation of light. He is humble, yet he is unveiling the true texture of reality. The wave of light is still there, of course, guiding the particles, telling them where to go, a ghost wave, a probability wave. But the reality that hits the metal, the reality that warms your face, is the particle. It is a duality, a partnership, a dance. The wave leads and the particle follows. Imagine a ballroom floor, vast and dark, where the music is the silent rhythm of the universe. The photons are the dancers, moving in perfect synchronization, gliding, spinning, flowing, yet each one is an individual. Each one has its own energy, its own destination. They do not merge into a blob, they keep their identity. This is the sleepy magic of the quantum world. It respects the individual, it respects the small. You can close your eyes and see the room around you filled with this dance. Even in the dark, there are photons, infrared photons, waves of heat drifting from the walls, from the furniture, from your own body, a slow, invisible waltz of warmth. Einstein's discovery brings a sense of coziness to the cold vacuum of physics. It tells us that light has substance, that it has a body, that it is real in a way that a mere wave is not.
The afternoon sun and burn begins to dip lower, the shadows in the office stretching out, becoming long and lazy.
The dust motes slow their dance, settling on the wooden floor. The workday is ending. The papers are filed away. The world is quieting down. But the revolution has begun. Einstein has taken the flicker from the black body oven and turned it into a flashlight, illuminating the very nature of light itself. He has shown us that the universe is not just a smooth painting, but a mosaic made of millions of tiny glowing tiles. And as you embrace this idea, you can feel a heaviness in your limbs, a pleasant weight, as if you were being covered by a blanket woven from these soft photons. The light is not harsh, it is a lullaby. It is a blanket of energy that protects you. The miracle year was a year of frantic output for science, but for Einstein, it was born of this deep, quiet focus, this ability to shut out the noise and see the simple, elegant truth. You can borrow that focus now. You can shut out the noise of your world. You can focus on the single, simple truth that you are tired, that you are safe, that you are ready to sleep. Let the photons of your thoughts slow down. Let them lose their energy. Let them settle like the dust in the sunbeam. The dance is slowing to a sway. The music is fading to a hum. The light is dimming to a glow. Einstein packs his bag, puts on his hat, and walks out into the cool Swiss evening, walking under the gas lamps which are now, to his eyes, emitting streams of man-made photons, little manufactured miracles fighting back the dark. He walks home to his wife and child, his mind peaceful, having glimpsed the secret architecture of the light. You are walking with him in spirit, down those cobbled streets, feeling the cool air, feeling the peace of a day well spent, feeling the certainty of the laws of nature. The universe is granular, and that means it can be handled, it can be understood, it can be rested upon. The photon is the smallest pillow in the universe, a tiny cushion of energy, and there are billions of them supporting you right now. Drift on this sea of particles, float on the stream of light. The science is sound, the logic is flawless, the story is true, and the sleep is coming. It is raining down on you like the gentle light of a distant star, soft, silent, and endless. Let the dance of the photons carry you away into the velvet night.
We drift away now from the warm, sunlit streets of Switzerland, allowing the currents of history to carry us northward, up across the cool, gray waters of the North Sea, arriving in the misty, atmospheric city of Copenhagen in the year 1913. The air here is heavy with the scent of salt and sea spray, and the fog rolls in from the harbor, wrapping the cobblestone streets in a soft white embrace that muffles the sound of footsteps and turns the gas lamps into glowing, hazy orbs. In this quiet, introspective city, we find a young Danish physicist named Niels Bohr, a man known for his gentle voice and his slow, careful way of speaking, as if he is weighing every word on a delicate scale before releasing it into the world. Imagine him sitting in his study, a room paneled in dark wood, looking out at the rain streaking the glass, wrestling with a problem that threatens to undo the very structure of matter. He is thinking about the atom, the tiny, invisible building block of everything we see and touch. Just a few years prior, in England, the great Ernest Rutherford had discovered that the atom was mostly empty space, a tiny, dense nucleus in the center, surrounded by electrons, like a miniature solar system. It is a beautiful image, one that we are all taught in school, a tiny sun with tiny planets spinning around it in perfect, silent circles.
Visualize this now, the atom as a peaceful microscopic galaxy floating in the void. You can see the heavy nucleus, an anchor of stability, and the electrons, light and swift, whizzing around it in their orbits. It creates a sense of balance, a sense of eternal motion. However, there was a flaw in this beautiful picture, a flaw that kept physicists awake at night. According to the old laws of classical mechanics, as these electrons spun around, they should lose energy, spiraling closer and closer to the center until they crashed into the nucleus, causing all matter in the universe to collapse in a fraction of a second. But look around you. The chair you are sitting on is solid. The bed you are lying in is stable. The walls of your room are not collapsing. The universe is safe, and Niels Bohr knew this. He knew that nature had a secret way of keeping things stable, a secret rule that prevented the collapse. As he sat there in the quiet Danish twilight, watching the rain, he had a vision that would save the atom, a vision that combined the classical solar system with the strange new quantum ideas of Max Planck. Imagine a ladder, a simple, sturdy wooden ladder standing in an empty room. When you climb a ladder, you can stand on the first rung, or you can stand on the second rung or the third. You are safe and stable on these rungs, but you cannot stand in between them. You cannot hover in the empty air halfway between the first and second step. This was the breakthrough. Bohr realized that the electrons in an atom are like people on a ladder. They are allowed to orbit at certain specific distances on certain specific rungs of energy, but they are forbidden from existing anywhere in between. It is a rule of nature, a cosmic law of no trespassing in the spaces between the orbits. This idea brings a profound sense of order to the chaos. The electrons are not just wandering aimlessly, they are following a strict, comforting path. They have a home, they have a place where they belong, and as long as they stay in their appointed orbit, they lose no energy, they make no sound, they simply flow forever and ever in a state of perfect, frictionless brace. Visualize an electron now, a tiny point of blue light gliding along its invisible track around the nucleus. It is calm, it is steady, it is safe. But what happens when it needs to move? What happens when it wants to change its energy? This is where the magic happens, the phenomenon known as the quantum leap. In the world we know, if you want to go from the first floor to the second floor, you have to travel through the space in between. You have to climb the stairs. But in the quantum world, the rules of travel are dreamlike and strange. When an electron jumps from one orbit to another, it does not travel across the gap. It simply ceases to exist in one place and instantly, simultaneously, appears in the other.
It is a silent teleportation, a ghost-like transition. One moment it is here, and the next moment it is there, without ever having been in the middle. There is no time taken for the journey. There is no path left behind. It is the ultimate letting go. Imagine the freedom of that movement, to simply be where you need to be without the struggle of the journey. To disappear from a place of low energy and reappear in a place of higher energy, or to drift down from a high excitement to a low, calm state of rest. This is the heartbeat of the atom. It is not a mechanical grinding of gears, but a series of soft, instantaneous blinks. Blink, it is here. Blink, it is there. And here is the most beautiful part of Bohr's discovery, the part that paints the world with color. When an electron falls from a high, excited rung of the ladder down to a lower, more comfortable rung, it has to get rid of that extra energy. And it does so by releasing a single, perfect photon of light. This is the source of all the colored light in the universe.
When you see the soft red glow of a neon sign on a rainy street, you are watching billions of electrons falling down their ladders, relaxing into a lower state and exhaling a breath of red light. When you see the green ribbons of the aurora borealis dancing in the northern sky, it is the oxygen atoms high in the atmosphere, their electrons jumping down, painting the dark canvas of space with their release. Every color is a specific jump. A big jump creates blue light. A small jump creates red light. The atom is a musical instrument, and the electrons are playing a visual symphony, hitting the notes of reality with absolute precision. Bohr's model turns the atom into a lighthouse, a beacon of signals. It explains why things glow, why things have color, why the world is not just gray and dull. It is a comforting thought to know that the beauty of the sunset and the glow of the fire are caused by these tiny, microscopic relaxations. The electron wants to be at rest. It wants to go to the lowest possible rung, the ground state, the place of maximum safety and minimum energy. And isn't that what you want right now? To find your ground state, to let go of the high energy of the day, to release the tension like a photon of light, and to drop down, down, down into the lowest, most comfortable orbit of sleep. You are like that electron. You have spent the day in a high energy state, spinning and moving and interacting. But now, gravity and exhaustion are calling you back to the center, back to the nucleus of your dreams. You can make the jump. You don't need to worry about how to get there. You don't need to traverse the space between being awake and being asleep. You can simply let go, and the universe will catch you. The Bohr model assures us that there is a floor.
The electron cannot spiral into the nucleus and cause a catastrophe. It stops at the bottom rung. It is held there by the laws of quantum mechanics, cradled in a basket of mathematical certainty. You too are held. You too have a bottom rung where you can rest without fear of falling further. The atom is a sanctuary of stability in a chaotic universe. Niels Bohr, with his furrowed brow and his gentle demeanor, gave us this gift of stability. He showed us that at the heart of everything, there are rules that prevent collapse. There are boundaries that keep us safe. The silence of the electron's orbit is the silence of the spheres, a microscopic harmony that hums in every cell of your body. As you lie there, imagine the trillions of atoms that make up your blankets, your pillow, your very self. In every single one of them, this peaceful dance is happening. Electrons are gliding, jumping, settling, releasing light, finding their home. It is a universe of activity, but it is an activity of perfect balance. There is no friction. There is no wear and tear. The atoms of your body are as fresh and new today as they were when the universe began. They do not age. They only dance. The mist of Copenhagen is swirling outside the window, blurring the lights of the city into soft, glowing nebulas. Niels Bohr puts down his chalk, satisfied. The solar system of the atom is saved. The panic of the spiral is gone. In its place is the ladder, the rung, the jump, the light. It is a theory of quiet miracles. It is a theory that says you can change your state instantly. You can go from awake to asleep in a quantum leap. You don't have to drag yourself there. You just have to close your eyes, let out a breath, and allow the transition to happen. The space between is not for you to worry about. The void is handled by the universe. You are just the traveler, moving from one level of peace to a deeper level of peace. The silence of the study in 1913 wraps around you.
The scratching of the pen stops. The rain slows to a drizzle. The world waits. The electron waits. And then, in the blink of an eye, without a sound, without a struggle, the jump happens. You are no longer in the high orbit of the day. You are in the low, warm, dark orbit of the night. You are safe in the ground state. The colors of the day have been released. The light has faded. Only the stability remains. Rest in that stability. Rest in the knowledge that the very atoms you are made of know exactly what to do. They know how to rest. They know how to be home. And now, so do you.
We drift away now from the misty streets of Copenhagen, leaving behind the structured ladders of Niels Bohr's atom, and allow the currents of time to carry us gently south to the romantic, sun-drenched landscape of France in the early 1920s. The air here is warm and smells of lavender and old stone, and the pace of life slows down even further, settling into the lazy rhythm of a long summer afternoon. We find ourselves in an ancestral chateau, a magnificent building of pale limestone standing amidst rolling vineyards and quiet gardens, the home of a young French prince named Louis de Broglie. He is a man of nobility, a man of history, but his mind is not occupied with politics or courtly gossip. Instead, it is wandering the vast, uncharted territories of physics. Imagine him walking slowly through the chateau's garden, the gravel crunching softly beneath his boots, the bees humming lazily over the blooming roses, the sunlight filtering through the leaves of the ancient oak trees in dappled patterns of gold and shadow. It is 1924, and the world of science is still grappling with the strange duality of light that Einstein had proposed years earlier, the idea that light could be both a wave and a particle. But Prince de Broglie is dreaming of something even stranger, something even more beautiful. He is wondering if the universe loves symmetry as much as he does, if light, which we thought was a wave, can behave like a particle, then perhaps matter, the solid stuff of the world, can behave like a wave. Imagine the implications of this thought as you walk with him through the tall grass. Look at the solid world around you, the heavy stone of the castle, the iron gates, the very ground beneath your feet. It feels stable, hard, defined. But de Broglie suggests that deep down, at the microscopic level, these solid particles are actually vibrations. They are actually waves, rippling through space like a melody. It is a concept known as wave-particle duality, but here, in the quiet of the garden, it feels less like a theory and more like a poem. Visualize the electron again, not as the tiny, hard planet we saw in Copenhagen, but now as a soft, shimmering cloud, a ripple in a pond that has no clear edge. It is a wave that flows around the nucleus, a standing wave that hums with a specific frequency. Think of a guitar string when it is plucked. You cannot point to one specific spot and say, the sound is here, for the sound is the vibration of the whole string. The electron is like that music. It is not a dot, it is a song. This idea softens the hard edges of reality. It tells us that the universe is not made of rigid, isolated Lego bricks, but of fluid, overlapping fields of influence. Matter is not frozen, it is flowing, it is breathing. As de Broglie pauses by a stone fountain, watching the water rise and fall, he sees the reflection of his own theory. The water is made of particles, yet it moves as a wave. The nature of reality is fluid. Everything is connected in a vast, rhythmic ocean of existence. Imagine yourself dissolving into this ocean. Your body, which feels so heavy and solid, is made of atoms, And those atoms are made of these waving electrons. You are, in a very real sense, a collection of waves. You are a symphony of vibrations. This thought allows you to let go of the physical weight of your body. If you are a wave, you are weightless. You can drift, you can flow. You can pass through the barriers of stress and tension as easily as sound passes through a curtain. The duality of nature is like the duality of waking and sleeping. We exist in two states. In the day, we are particles, distinct, busy, colliding with the world, defined by our tasks and our boundaries. But at night, we become waves. We blur at the edges. Our thoughts spread out. We merge with the darkness. We lose our rigid definitions and become something softer, something more expansive. De Broglie's dream invites you to embrace this wave nature. It invites you to stop trying to be a hard, precise particle and allow yourself to become a soft, spreading wave. Imagine the boundaries of your skin dissolving just a little, allowing you to blend into the comfort of the bed, to blend into the air of the room. You are not isolated, you are continuous. The wind blowing through the French countryside whispers this truth. It moves through the trees, creating waves in the leaves, waves in the tall grass, a visible manifestation of the invisible energy. De Broglie writes his PhD thesis, a short and elegant document proposing this radical idea. The older physicists are skeptical at first. They find it too strange, too dreamlike. How can a rock be a wave? How can a person be a wave? But Einstein reads it and sees the genius. He says, he has lifted a corner of the great veil. Imagine that veil being lifted for you now. Behind the veil of the solid world lies the true world, the world of flow, the world where nothing is stuck, the world where everything is moving in a slow, graceful dance. The matter wave is a lullaby of the cosmos. It says that movement is natural, that change is natural. You do not need to hold yourself together so tightly. You can relax your grip. You can let your edges soften. As you drift deeper, visualize the electron orbiting the nucleus, but now, instead of a planet, visualize it as a ring of mist, a halo of possibility. It doesn't have to be in one place. It can be everywhere at once, wrapped around the center like a warm blanket. This is the comfort of the quantum world. It is spacious. There is room to breathe. There is room to be uncertain. You don't have to be pinned down. De Broglie later won the Nobel Prize for this beautiful intuition. But in this moment, he is just a man enjoying the peace of his garden, watching the sunset paint the sky in hues of violet and rose. The colors blend into one another, just as the wave blends into the particle. There is no sharp line where the blue ends and the pink begins. It is a gradient, a transition, just like the transition you are making now. You are moving from the particle state of wakefulness, with its hard facts and sharp lights, into the wave state of sleep, with its soft shadows and drifting dreams. Feel the rhythm of this wave. It matches your breathing. In, out, rising, falling, like the tide, like the seasons, like the swing of a pendulum. Matter is music. The universe is a grand orchestra, and you are a single sustained note, vibrating in harmony with the whole. The tension in your muscles is just a knot in the wave, and you can smooth it out. You can let the vibration travel through you, carrying the tension away, leaving only peace. The chateau is quieting down for the night. The servants are extinguishing the lamps. The prince retires to his study.
but his mind is still floating on the sea of waves. He knows that he has found a secret connection between the seen and the unseen. The rock and the ripple are one. The body and the spirit are one. The day and the night are one. Everything is two sides of the same coin. And as you accept this duality, you find a deep sense of balance. You do not have to choose between being alert and being asleep. You simply have to let the phase change happen. You simply have to let the particle become the wave. The frequency of your brain waves is slowing down, shifting from the rapid beta waves of the day to the slow, rolling delta waves of deep sleep. You are literally becoming a slower wave. You are embodying the theory. The science is not just out there in the textbook. It is happening inside your head right now. You are a demonstration of de Broglie's hypothesis. You are slowing down. You are spreading out. You are drifting. The garden outside is dark now. The crickets are singing their rhythmic song, a wave of sound that rises and falls. The stars are twinkling, their light traveling as waves across the galaxy to reach your eyes. Everything is communicating through these ripples. You are connected to the stars. You are connected to the earth. You are connected to the silence. Let the image of the French countryside fade into a soft blur. Let the stone walls of the chateau melt away. There is only the sensation of floating, floating on a raft of probability, floating on a sea of calm. The Prince of Waves has shown us the way. He has shown us that at our core we are not rigid things, but flowing processes. We are not statues, we are rivers, and rivers always find their way to the ocean. Rivers always find their way to rest. Allow yourself to flow. Allow yourself to bend. Allow yourself to become the wave. The resistance is gone. The hardness is gone. There is only the gentle undulation of sleep, carrying you forward, carrying you down, carrying you home. The physics of the dream is the physics of the wave, and you are the dreamer riding the crest of the wave into the deep, dark, peaceful valley of the night. We drift away now from the warm, sunlit gardens of the French chateau, leaving the gentle waves of de Broglie behind, and we allow the wind to carry us northward, far across the churning gray waters of the North Sea, until we see a lonely, rugged silhouette rising from the mist, the small, isolated island of Helgoland. It is the summer of 1925, and this barren rock, with its towering red sandstone cliffs and endless views of the ocean, has become a sanctuary for a young German physicist named Werner Heisenberg. He has come here to escape the pollen of the mainland, seeking relief from a terrible bout of hay fever. And in this treeless, flowerless landscape, he finds not only the ability to breathe freely again, but also a profound solitude that will change the course of human thought. Imagine standing on the edge of those high cliffs with him, wrapped in a heavy wool coat, feeling the cool, salty spray of the sea on your face, listening to the rhythmic crashing of the waves against the rocks below. The sound is constant, a deep white noise that drowns out the chatter of the world, leaving only the raw elements of wind, water, and stone. It is a place of extreme simplicity, a place where the distractions of modern life have been stripped away, leaving the mind free to wander into the deepest mysteries of the atom. Heisenberg is young, barely 23, and he is wrestling with the fact that the old pictures of the atom, the miniature solar systems with their neat little planetary orbits, simply do not match the math. He spends his nights feverishly calculating, working by the light of a kerosene lamp until the sun rises over the sea, painting the water in hues of steel gray and gold. As he walks the island paths in the misty dawn, a radical new truth begins to form in his mind, a truth about the limits of what we can know. This is the birth of the uncertainty principle. In the classical world of Isaac Newton, if you knew the position and the speed of a ball, you knew everything about it. You could predict exactly where it would be in an hour or a year. The future was a straight line drawn from the present. But Heisenberg realizes that the subatomic world is different, that it is shrouded in a fundamental, inescapable mist. Imagine trying to look at a delicate snowflake in a dark room. To see it, you must shine a light on it. But in the quantum world, light is made of particles, those photons we spoke of earlier, and they carry a punch. If you shine a light on an electron to see where it is, the photon hits it and sends it skittering away, changing its speed. You have found its position, but in doing so, you have lost its momentum.
The more precisely you try to pin down where the particle is, the less you know about where it is going. This is not a failure of our measuring tools, it is a fundamental quality of nature itself. The universe refuses to be pinned down. It refuses to be sharp and defined. There is always a trade-off, a balance, a blur. Imagine looking at a photograph that is slightly out of focus, where the edges of the objects are soft and blending into the background. This is what reality looks like at the bottom. It is not a hard, technical drawing with sharp lines. It is an impressionist painting, a watercolor of probability where things bleed into one another. There is a profound relaxation in this idea. We are raised to believe that we must know everything, that we must be certain about our path, our future, our exact location in life. But Heisenberg teaches us that certainty is an illusion. We cannot know everything. There is a limit to our control. And in accepting that limit, we find a deep sense of freedom. You do not need to know exactly where you are going to be safe. You do not need to track every variable of your life with perfect precision. You can let go of the measuring tape. You can let go of the need to define. You can exist in the mist. Imagine yourself walking into a bank of soft, cool fog. The world around you disappears. The sharp edges of buildings and trees soften and fade into the white, and the sounds of the world become muffled and distant. You are in a cocoon of uncertainty, and it is peaceful. You don't need to see the horizon. You only need to see the step right in front of you. The uncertainty principle is a permission slip from the universe to stop worrying about the details. It tells us that ambiguity is natural. It tells us that being a little lost is part of the fundamental structure of reality. As Heisenberg sits on a rock overlooking the sea, watching the fog roll in and obscure the horizon, he feels a weight lift from his shoulders. He realizes that the electron does not have a precise path like a train on a track. It has a cloud of possibilities. It is here and there and maybe over there. It exists in a state of potential. And as you lie in your bed, you too are a cloud of potential. You are not a fixed point. You are a field of energy, soft and undefinable. The tension in your body is often the result of trying to hold on too tight, of trying to force the world to be sharp and clear. But if you embrace the blur, if you embrace the fuzziness, the tension dissolves. Visualize the atoms of your body not as hard little marbles, but as soft, vibrating clouds of mist. They are not rigid, they are fluid. They are dancing in the fog. The anxiety of the unknown fades away when you realize that the unknown is simply the natural state of things. We are all walking in the mist of Helgoland. The sea below is the ocean of sleep, deep and vast and dark. You are standing on the cliff, and the mist is wrapping around you,
cool and comforting.
You can't see the bottom of the cliff, and you don't need to. You can't see the ships in the distance, and that's fine. All that exists is this moment, this breath, this soft, gray stillness. Heisenberg's discovery shook the foundations of science because it took away the clockwork predictability of the universe. But in return, it gave us mystery. It gave us a world that is open-ended, a world that is still being written. And in a way, it gave us permission to sleep. Because if we can't know the future with certainty, then there is no point in lying awake trying to calculate it. If the electron can't be pinned down, then neither can your thoughts. Let them drift. Let your thoughts become like the mist, unformed and floating. They don't need to have a destination. They don't need to have a speed. They can just be. The concept of haze becomes a tool for relaxation. Imagine a soft focus lens placed over your mind's eye. The worries of the day lose their sharp edges. The to-do lists become blurry and unreadable. The regrets of the past fade into the background noise of the waves. Everything is softening. Everything is becoming quantum. The Heisenberg uncertainty is not a source of fear, but a blanket of comfort. It covers the machinery of the world so you don't have to look at it. It muffles the ticking of the clock. It blurs the line between you and the bed, between the bed and the room, between the room and the night. You are expanding into the uncertainty. You are becoming part of the probability cloud. Later, Heisenberg would return to the mainland, to the universities and the chalkboards, to debate with Bohr and Einstein, to formalize his math. But for now, he is still on the island. He is still in the moment of discovery, the moment of awe. The sun has set, and the lighthouse of Helgoland begins its slow rotation, a beam of light cutting through the fog, appearing and disappearing. Flash, darkness, flash, darkness. It is a rhythmic reminder of the dual nature of light and the rhythmic nature of sleep. You are safe in the darkness between the flashes. You are safe in the gaps of knowledge. The universe is holding you, even if it isn't gripping you tight. In fact, it holds you better because it holds you loosely. It cradles you in a web of probabilities. You are exactly where you need to be, even if you can't define it. The precision of the day is over. The uncertainty of the night is here, and it is a welcome guest. It brings with it the dreams, the strange, non-linear narratives of sleep where logic doesn't apply, where you can be in two places at once, where time flows backward and forward. The dream world is the quantum world. It is the world Heisenberg glimpsed on that lonely island. So let yourself go there. Step off the cliff of certainty and float into the mist. There is no hard landing. There is only the soft suspension of the field. The wind dies down. The waves settle into a gentle lapping against the shore. The seabirds have gone to roost in the crags of the red rocks. The island is asleep. The physicist is asleep. And you are drifting, drifting, drifting into the beautiful, blurry, comforting unknown. The mist is your blanket. The uncertainty is your pillow. And the sleep is the only truth that matters now.
We drift away now from the misty, sea-swept island of Helgoland and the uncertainty of the north, allowing the winds of winter to carry us south once again, rising higher and higher into the crisp, thin air of the Swiss Alps. It is the Christmas season of 1925, and we find ourselves in the breathtaking mountain resort of Arosa, a place where the world is reduced to the pristine white of snow and the deep, eternal blue of the sky. Nestled among the pine trees, buried under a thick blanket of winter silence, stands the Villa Herwig, a quiet chalet where the Austrian physicist Erwin Schrödinger has come to escape the noise of the university and the jagged, confusing theories of his time. He is a man who loves the beauty of nature, a man who finds the idea of jerky, jumping electrons to be ugly and jarring, and so he has retreated to this high-altitude sanctuary to find a smoother, more elegant truth. Imagine him sitting there, wrapped in a heavy wool cardigan, looking out through the frosted window pane at the majestic, snow-capped peaks that stretch out like a frozen ocean of white waves. The air up here is silent, so silent that you can almost hear the ringing of the stars. But to ensure absolute peace, Schrödinger places a pair of pearl earplugs into his ears, sealing himself off from the world, diving deep into the inner ocean of his mind. He is searching for a way to describe the atom that is not made of hard, bouncing billiard balls, but of something fluid, something musical, something that flows. He takes the idea of de Broglie's waves and he begins to craft a master equation, a mathematical poem that will describe how these waves move and evolve over time. This is the birth of the famous Schrödinger equation, and at its heart lies a symbol that looks like a trident, the Greek letter psi. This symbol, psi, is the wave function, and it is perhaps the most magical concept in all of science. Imagine reality not as a collection of hard facts, but as a vast, shimmering ocean of possibilities. In the classical world, a thing is either here or it is there. It is either yes or it is no, like a light switch that is on or off. But in Schrödinger's world, the world of the wave function, reality is a dimmer switch. It is a spectrum. It is a fluid spread out across space. Visualize the electron now, not as a tiny dot, but as a cloud, a soft, glowing fog that wraps around the nucleus of the atom. The wave function tells us the shape of this cloud. It tells us where the electron might be, where it probably is, but it never tells us exactly where it is, because the electron is not in one place. It is in many places at once, rippling like a disturbed pond. This is a symphony of probability. Imagine an orchestra playing a beautiful, complex chord, a harmony made of many notes blending together into one sound.
The electron is that chord. It is a superposition of many different states, many different locations, all vibrating together in perfect unison. It is only when we look, when we measure, that the chord collapses into a single note. But until then, in the privacy of the unobserved universe, the music plays on in all its rich complexity. There is a profound relaxation in this view of the universe. It invites us to let go of the need for hardness, for sharpness, for definite answers. It suggests that at the fundamental level, nature is soft, malleable, and dreamlike. Think of the wave function as a map of the maybe, a landscape of what if. As you lie in your bed, feeling the heaviness of your body sinking into the mattress, you can imagine yourself dissolving into this wave function. You are no longer a solid object with rigid boundaries. You are a field of energy, spreading out, softening, blending with the room around you. The tension in your muscles is just a high concentration of probability, and you can let it flow, let it disperse like a drop of ink in a glass of clear water. Watch the ink swirl and expand, beautiful ribbons of color stretching out, thinning, fading, until the water is a uniform pale shade.
That is what the wave function does. It takes the sharp spike of a particle and smooths it out into a gentle hill. Schrödinger hated the idea of quantum jumps, those instant jerky teleportations that Bohr described. He wanted physics to be like a classical wave, like the sound of a violin or the motion of the tide. And with his equation, he brought that smoothness back. He showed that the wave function evolves perfectly smoothly over time, flowing according to a strict deterministic rhythm. The future unfolds from the past like a rolling river. There are no sudden shocks in the equation, only the graceful evolution of probability. It is a comforting thought to know that even in the strange world of the quantum, there is an underlying order, a flow that can be predicted and understood. The silence of the Alps surrounds you now. The snow is falling outside the Villa Herwig, adding another layer of softness to the world. Each snowflake is a unique crystal, yet they all merge into a single white blanket, just as the many possibilities of the quantum world merge into the singular reality we experience. But in the dream world, the world you are drifting towards, the wave function does not collapse. In your dreams, you can be flying and falling at the same time. You can be in your childhood home and a strange city simultaneously. Dreams are the realm of pure probability, where the rules of logic loosen their grip and the fluid nature of the wave takes over. Schrödinger's equation is the physics of the dream state. It is the mathematics of the imagination. As you listen to the imaginary wind howling softly around the mountain peaks, you are safe inside, warm by the fire of your own consciousness, protected by the pearl earplugs of sleep.
The worries of the day, the hard facts of your schedule, the rigid demands of your life, they are all classical particles, hard and sharp. But now you are converting them into waves. You are letting them lose their edges. The worry is no longer a rock in your shoe. It is a ripple in a vast lake, moving away from you, getting smaller and smaller until it disappears into the glass-like surface. The equation, psi, is washing over you. It is a cleansing tide. It washes away the certainty of I must and I have to, and leaves behind the peaceful I might and I could. In this ocean of possibilities, you don't have to be anything specific. You don't have to be productive. You don't have to be alert. You can just be a probability. You can hover in the state between awake and asleep, that twilight zone where the mind wanders freely. This is the superposition. You are both here and there. You are both heavy and light. You are both body and spirit. And it is a beautiful place to be. Schrödinger's discovery was a triumph of visualization. He saw the universe not as a machine, but as a melody. And every atom in your body is humming that melody right now. The electrons in your fingertips, in your eyelids, in your heart, they are all obeying this equation, rising and falling like the chest of a sleeping giant. The universe is breathing. It is not static. It is a living, moving fluid. The hard reality is just an illusion, a crust on top of the deep, liquid truth. Dive into that liquid. Let the waters of the wave function close over your head. It is breathable water. It is the ether of sleep. The math is complex, but the feeling is simple. It is the feeling of floating, floating on a raft of numbers that always add up to 1. The probability of you finding peace tonight is high. The probability of you drifting off is approaching certainty. The curve is rising, the wave is swelling,
and soon it will gently deposit you on the shores of morning. But for now, enjoy the drift, enjoy the lack of definition. Erwin Schrödinger puts down his pen, rubs his tired eyes, and looks out at the blue moonlight on the snow. He has captured the ghost in the machine. He has given the ghost a name, Psi, and he is satisfied. The jagged world has been smoothed. The chaotic world has been ordered. The symphony is playing, soft and low, a lullaby for the cosmos. The notes are the subatomic particles, and the conductor is the laws of physics. You are part of the audience, and you are part of the music. Close your eyes and see the waves. See them rolling in one after another, endless and serene. Blue waves, violet waves, waves of pure potential. They rack you, they soothe you, they carry you away from the high altitude of the Alps, down into the warm, dark valleys of slumber. The equation is solved. The answer is sleep. The answer is always sleep. Let the symphony play you out. Let the probability become reality. You are asleep. You are asleep. You are asleep. We leave the high, silent peaks of the Swiss Alps now, descending from the crisp snow and the solitude of Schrödinger's chalet, and we let the currents of history carry us gently northwest, across the heart of Europe, to the city of Brussels in the autumn of 1927. It is late October. The trees are shedding their leaves in drifts of gold and brown, and a soft, persistent rain is falling over the city, a gray and comforting drizzle that washes the cobblestone streets and slickens the black roofs of the grand buildings. We are traveling to a moment frozen in time, the 5th Solvay Conference, a gathering that has become legendary, a meeting where the air was thick not just with tobacco smoke and damp wool, but with the very electricity of genius. Imagine yourself standing outside the majestic Hotel Metropole, the rain tapping a gentle rhythm on your umbrella, watching as black sedans pull up to the curb one by one, delivering the architects of the modern world. They step out into the mist, giants in long trench coats and fedoras, shaking off the water, their faces etched with deep thought and the weariness of travel. There is Albert Einstein, his hair wild and unruly even then, clutching his violin case and his pipe, the man who changed our understanding of time and space. There is Niels Bohr, the gentle Dane with the heavy brow, ready to defend the strange new world of the quantum. There is Marie Curie, the only woman in the photograph, a figure of immense dignity and quiet power, her hands scarred by the radiation she studied, her eyes sharp and observant. There is Max Planck, the elder statesman, looking at the revolution he started with a mixture of pride and caution. And there is young Heisenberg and Schrödinger and Pauli, the new guard, the princes of uncertainty and waves. It is said that at this conference, 17 of the 29 attendees were or would become Nobel Prize winners, making it the most intelligent room in the history of civilization. But tonight they are just people, seeking warmth and rest. Follow them through the revolving brass doors into the lobby of the hotel, where the air is warm and smells of rich coffee, polished mahogany, and old leather. The sound of the rain fades to a distant hum, replaced by the soft murmur of polite conversation in German, French, and English. The atmosphere is one of immense respect, a gathering of old friends and friendly rivals who share a secret language, the language of mathematics and nature. You can feel the heaviness of the history here, the velvet curtains, the golden chandeliers casting a soft yellow light, the plush armchairs where they sit to rest their weary legs. They are here to debate the nature of reality, to decide once and for all if the universe is a clockwork mechanism or a game of chance. But the debate is not a brawl, it is a symphony of ideas, a slow, deliberate conversation that stretches over days. Imagine sitting in the corner of the lounge, invisible and safe, watching Einstein and Bohr huddled together at a small table, cups of tea steaming between them. Einstein is shaking his head slowly, a look of peaceful resistance on his face.
He is whispering his famous objection. God does not play dice with the universe. He cannot accept that at the bottom of everything there is only probability. He longs for the certainty of the old laws, the comfort of a cause for every effect. And Bohr, with a soft smile and a patient hand, replies, "Albert, stop telling God what to do." It is a gentle duel, a clash of philosophies played out in hushed tones, surrounded by the clinking of porcelain and the drifting smoke of Einstein's pipe. The smoke rises in curling ribbons, blue and gray, twisting and turning like the wave functions they are discussing, filling the room with a sweet, earthy aroma. Outside, the Brussels rain intensifies, a steady, soothing downpour that seals the hotel off from the rest of the world. The city sleeps, but the minds in this room are still humming, though softly now, winding down like cooling engines. You can imagine the scene the next morning at the Institute of Physiology, where the formal sessions are held. The room is a lecture hall with a long blackboard covered in white chalk equations, symbols that represent the fundamental secrets of existence. The physicists sit in rows, listening, nodding, sometimes closing their eyes to visualize the invisible world of the atom. It is a slow, methodical process. There is no rushing here. Every idea is turned over, examined, polished like a gem. They speak of the collapse of the wave function, the moment when a ghost becomes real. They speak of entanglement, the spooky connection between things. But to you, the listener, these are just words that float in the air, soothing sounds that lull you deeper into relaxation. You don't need to understand the math to feel the grandeur of the moment. You are in the presence of greatness, and greatness is calm. Greatness is patient. The famous photograph of the conference is being taken now in your mind's eye. They gather on the steps of the Institute, the rain pausing just for a moment to let the gray light filter through the clouds. They sit and stand in their dark suits, looking into the lens of history. Einstein in the front, relaxed, his hands folded. Curie next to him, serious and still. Bohr in the second row, looking slightly to the side, perhaps still thinking of a counter-argument. It is a tableau of human achievement, a snapshot of the moment when we realized the world was stranger than we ever dreamed. But the photo is still, and you are drifting. The image fades into sepia, then into gray, then into the black of sleep. The conference moves back to the hotel for dinner. The dining room is a sea of white tablecloths and crystal glasses. The conversation has moved away from physics now, turning to music, to art, to the simple pleasures of a good meal. Einstein plays a little on his violin, a sweet, melancholic melody that drifts through the hotel, mingling with the sound of the rain. The music is a wave, traveling through the air, touching the ears of the geniuses, soothing their overactive brains. Even the smartest people in the world need to sleep. Even the minds that can dismantle the atom need to rest. Imagine them retiring to their rooms one by one. The lights in the hallway are dimmed. The doors click shut softly. The heavy curtains are drawn against the night. Einstein lays his head on the pillow, letting go of his resistance, letting the dice fall where they may. Bohr closes his eyes, letting the solar system of the atom fade into the darkness.
Heisenberg lets the mist of uncertainty envelop him. They are all sleeping now, the giants of the Solvay conference. The hotel is quiet. The only sound left is the rain, the eternal, timeless rain of Brussels, washing over the roof, washing over the streets, washing over the world. It is a sound of cleansing, a sound of peace. You are there with them, in the safety of that historic night. You are part of the gathering, a silent observer in the back of the room. The intellectual struggle is over. The theories have been presented. The arguments have been made. Now is the time for integration. Now is the time for the subconscious to take over. The problems of the universe can wait until morning. The paradoxes can wait until the sun comes up. Right now, there is only the comfort of the bed, the warmth of the blankets, and the knowledge that you are safe in a universe that is being looked after by these great minds. The Solvay gathering was a turning point, a moment where the old world gave way to the new, but it was also just a group of people, tired and cold, seeking shelter from the rain. Feel that shelter now. Feel the walls around you, solid and protective. Feel the roof above you, keeping out the storm. The mysteries of quantum mechanics are not there to keep you awake. They are there to show you that the world is a magical place, a place of infinite possibility, a place where dreams are just as real as matter. The rain continues to fall, a steady rhythmic drumming that matches the beat of your heart. Drip, drop, drip, drop. It is the ticking of the quantum clock. It is the lullaby of the cosmos. The giants are asleep. The city is asleep. The history books are closed. And you too are drifting away from Brussels, drifting away from the hotel, drifting away from the equations. You are floating on a raft of silence, moving deeper into the night. The light of the gas lamps blurs and fades. The sound of the violin echoes faintly and then is gone. There is only the rain. There is only the dark. There is only the peace of the Solvay night. Let the giants sleep. Let the universe sleep. Let yourself sleep. Down, 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 into the comfort of the past, into the comfort of the rain, into the deep, restful sleep of the night. We drift away now from the rainy streets of Brussels and the grand gatherings of Europe, allowing the currents of time to carry us across the vast, rolling gray waters of the Atlantic Ocean, bringing us gently to the quiet, tree-lined streets of Princeton, New Jersey in the mid-1930s. The world has changed, and Albert Einstein has found a new home in this peaceful American university town, a place of red brick buildings, ivy-covered walls, and lawns buried under a carpet of crisp autumn leaves. It is a time of transition, a time of seeking refuge, and we find ourselves in the cozy, cluttered study of his white clapboard house on Mercer Street, where the afternoon light is fading into a soft, golden twilight. Einstein is older now, his hair whiter, his eyes softer, but his mind is still wrestling with the deepest secrets of the cosmos, specifically with a concept so strange, so intimate, that he famously called it spukhafte Fernwirkung, or spooky action at a distance. Imagine him sitting in his favorite armchair, the air filled with the comforting scent of pipe tobacco and old paper, talking quietly with his younger colleagues, Boris Podolsky and Nathan Rosen. They are discussing the idea of connection, of how two things can be linked in a way that defies all logic, a concept we now call quantum entanglement. To understand this and to feel the deep comfort it brings, imagine two tiny particles, two electrons, born from the same burst of energy, like twins sharing a single soul. They interact, they dance together, and then they are separated, sent flying in opposite directions across the universe. One particle stays here, perhaps resting in the palm of your hand, while the other travels billions of light years away to the edge of the Andromeda Galaxy. According to the classical laws of physics, the laws that govern our daily lives, these two particles should now be strangers, completely independent of one another, separated by the immense cold void of space. But the quantum world whispers a different story, a story of eternal belonging. It says that these two particles are still connected, linked by an invisible, unbreakable thread that stretches across the cosmos. If you measure the particle in your hand and find that it is spinning upwards, then instantly, without a single moment of delay, the other particle across the universe will be found spinning downwards. It is as if they know each other's hearts. It is as if they are communicating faster than the speed of light, faster than time itself. Einstein found this idea spooky because it broke the rules of separation. He wanted the world to be made of distinct, separate objects, but tonight we can see this spookiness as something else entirely. We can see it as a profound promise of connection. It means that at the fundamental level of reality, distance is an illusion. It means that nothing is ever truly alone. As you lie there in the comfort of your bed, imagine this invisible web of entanglement wrapping around the universe like a warm embrace. You are not an isolated island in a sea of emptiness. You are made of atoms that were cooked in the hearts of ancient stars, atoms that once danced with other atoms that are now scattered across the galaxy. You are entangled with the cosmos in a way that can never be broken.
This invisible thread is a metaphor for comfort, a reminder that you belong to the universe and the universe belongs to you. Think of the people you love, the places you miss, the memories you hold dear. Even if they are far away, even if they are on the other side of the world, there is a quantum thread connecting you to them. The action is not spooky, it is sympathetic. It is the physics of empathy. When one heart beats, the other responds. When one particle settles into rest, the other balances it. It is a beautiful symmetry, a cosmic partner dance that spans the light years. In the study at Princeton, the shadows are growing longer, filling the corners of the room with a soft velvet darkness. Einstein scribbles his thoughts on a pad of paper, trying to disprove this connection, trying to find a flaw in the logic, but the math holds firm. The connection is real. And this realization, while troubling to a physicist who loves rules, is deeply soothing to a soul who needs rest. It tells us that we don't need to reach out to be connected, for we are already connected. We don't need to shout to be heard, for the universe is listening to our silent state. Visualize the invisible threads now, glowing with a soft, silvery light, crisscrossing the room, passing through the walls, extending out into the night sky. They are the strings of a great cosmic instrument, and the universe is humming a low, resonant note of unity. The fear of loneliness dissolves in the face of entanglement. How can you be lonely when your very atoms are holding hands with particles on the other side of creation? How can you be lost when your position is intimately tied to the position of everything else? The EPR paradox, as it came to be known, was meant to be a challenge, but it became a gift. It gave us a universe that is not a cold collection of rocks and gas, but a living, breathing web of relationships. As you sink deeper into your mattress, feel the support of that web. Feel the gravity that holds you to the earth, which is itself a form of connection,
a massive, silent hug from the planet. The Earth is entangled with the Sun with the galaxy with the cluster. It is a chain of belonging that goes on forever. Einstein sips his tea, the warmth spreading through him, and looks out the window at the autumn trees of New Jersey.
The leaves are falling, detaching from the branches, yet they will return to the earth, becoming part of the soil, feeding the roots, rising again in the spring. Nothing is ever truly separated. Separation is just a temporary state, a visual trick. Beneath the surface, the roots are tangled, the water is shared, the life force is one. This is the lesson of the spooky action. It is the lesson that we are part of a whole. And being part of a whole means you can relax. You don't have to carry the weight of existence by yourself. You are supported by the entire structure. The unseen threads are strong. They can hold your weight. They can hold your worries. You can let go of the day, knowing that the night is entangled with the morning. The sun will rise because the earth turns. The sleep will come because the body needs it. It is a system of perfect response, action and reaction, call and response, sleep and wake. The study in Princeton fades into the night. The lights of the house go out one by one. The famous physicist goes to sleep, perhaps dreaming of a universe where everything is one, a universe where he doesn't have to send a letter to reach a friend, but simply has to think a thought. You are entering that universe now. The dream world is a place of pure entanglement, where logic steps aside and connection takes over. You can be with anyone, anywhere, instantly. The barriers of space and time are lifted. You are the electron, spinning softly in the void, waiting for your partner, and your partner is peace. Your partner is silence. Your partner is rest. The invisible thread is pulling you gently, not with force, but with the subtle tug of gravity, pulling you down into the softest pillows, into the deepest blankets. The spooky action is just the universe tucking you in from 1 billion miles away. It is a lullaby sung across the vacuum. It is the assurance that no matter how far you drift in your dreams, you are still tethered to the safety of your bed, to the safety of your life. The mystery remains, but the fear is gone. We accept the mystery. We accept the connection. We wrap ourselves in the invisible threads and let them form a cocoon of quantum safety. Princeton is asleep. The autumn leaves are settling. The stars are watching, and you are connected to it all, suspended in the beautiful, silent, spooky web of the night. Sleep now, held by the threads of the cosmos. Sleep now, entangled with the peace of the stars. We drift away now from the autumn leaves of Princeton and the invisible threads of connection, moving deeper into the sanctuary of the mind, entering a space that is timeless and still, a quiet, dimly lit lecture hall in a grand old university where the air is cool and smells of chalk dust and polished wood. It is late at night. The students have long since gone, and the only light comes from the moon filtering through the high arched windows, casting long pale rectangles across the rows of empty wooden seats. We are here to explore the deepest mystery of the quantum world, the mystery of the observer, the strange and magical power that consciousness seems to hold over the fabric of reality. Imagine standing at the front of this silent hall, looking at a blackboard covered in faint, erased equations, the ghosts of thoughts from the day. On a heavy wooden table in the center of the room sits a piece of equipment, a simple setup for the famous double-slit experiment, a device that has puzzled and enchanted scientists for decades.
It is here that we confront the question of what happens when we look at the world, and, more importantly for your sleep, what happens when we stop looking. In the classical world, the world of daylight and tasks, things exist whether we look at them or not. The chair is a chair, the desk is a desk, solid and unchanging. But here, in the quantum twilight, we discover that the universe is shy, that it behaves differently when it is being watched. Imagine a stream of electrons being fired at a screen with two narrow slits, like tiny pebbles thrown at a gate. If no one is watching, if the room is empty and the detectors are turned off, the electrons behave like waves of water, flowing through both slits at once, rippling and dancing, creating a beautiful, complex pattern of interference on the back wall, a pattern of many possibilities merging into one. It is a state of flow, a state of freedom, a state where the electron is not pinned down to a single path, but is allowed to explore all paths simultaneously. This is the wave function we spoke of, the ocean of probability, and it is the natural state of the unobserved universe. It is soft, it is fluid, it is dreamlike. But now, imagine that we turn on a detector, a tiny mechanical eye that watches the slits to see which one the electron goes through. The moment we look, the moment we measure, the magic stops. The wave collapses. The electron panics, snaps into a single position, and becomes a hard, tiny particle traveling through only one slit, hitting the wall like a bullet. The beautiful interference pattern disappears, replaced by two rigid bands. The act of observation has forced the universe to decide. It has forced the soft wave to collapse into a hard fact. This is the collapse of the reality. The moment the maybe becomes the is. And as you lie here, listening to the silence of the room, you can realize that your waking mind is that detector.
All day long you have been observing, measuring, defining, collapsing the waves of your life into hard lists of things to do, places to be, problems to solve. Your focus is a laser that turns the fluid potential of the future into the rigid reality of the present. It is exhausting work, this constant creation of the world. It is heavy work to hold the universe in place with your gaze. But now, in the safety of this sleep story, you have permission to turn off the detector. You have permission to close the eye of the observer. You have permission to stop measuring. Imagine the mechanical eye in the laboratory clicking off, its red light fading to black. The hum of the machine dies down. The room returns to silence. And as the observation stops, the electrons breathe a sigh of relief and dissolve back into waves. The hard particles melt into soft ripples. The rigid lines on the wall blur back into beautiful overlapping patterns. The universe relaxes because you are no longer forcing it to be sharp. This is the meditation of the quantum sleeper. You are withdrawing your attention from the hard objects of your life. You are letting the bedroom around you lose its definition. You don't need to know where the door is. You don't need to know what time it is. You don't need to know what tomorrow brings. By not looking, by not checking, by not measuring, you are allowing your reality to expand back into a wave of pure potential. The silent observer is the part of you that remains when the active mind goes to sleep. It is a deep, passive awareness, a presence that does not judge, does not label, does not collapse. It simply is. Sink into that silent observer now. It feels like sinking into a warm bath or floating in a sensory deprivation tank where the boundaries of the self dissolve. The famous physicist John Wheeler once suggested that the universe does not exist until we observe it.
that we are participatory observers creating the cosmos with our questions. But tonight we have no questions. We have no need to create. We are uncreating. We are letting the structure fall away. The lecture hall in your mind is growing darker. The moonbeams are fading. The blackboard is erasing itself. The hard wood of the seats is softening into clouds. The collapse is usually seen as a loss of possibility, but here we are reversing it. We are uncollapsing. We are inflating the balloon of dreams. Let the focus of your eyes soften behind your closed lids. When you stare hard at something, your eyes tense up, your brow furrows. You are trying to pin the world down. But when you relax your eyes, when you let them drift, the world goes out of focus.
It becomes a blur of colors and shapes. This blur is the comfort zone. This blur is the resting place. The anxiety of the day comes from the need to be certain, the need to know for sure. But the quantum world tells us that certainty is a high-energy state. Uncertainty is the ground state. Uncertainty is the bed you sleep in. So embrace the fact that you don't know. You don't know exactly where the electron is, and that's okay. You don't know exactly what the future holds, and that's okay. You are entering the realm of the wave, where everything is connected and nothing is separate. The observer effect is fading. You are no longer the scientist standing at the bench. You are the experiment itself. You are the wave flowing through the dark. You are passing through the slits of the night, entering the vast, silent chamber of sleep. There is no one watching you now. There is no one grading your performance. There is no one measuring your breathing. You are unobserved. And because you are unobserved, you are free. You are free to be everywhere and nowhere. You are free to be heavy and light. You are free to be the ripple in the pond. The tension in your shoulders is a collapsed wave function, a knot of observation, and as you stop looking at it, it unravels, smoothing out into the general hum of your body. The thoughts in your head are particles darting around, bouncing off the walls, but as you stop following them, as you stop watching them, they slow down, they spread out, they become a fog, a mist, a quiet cloud. The meditative lesson of quantum physics is that the world is only hard when we make it hard. When we let go, it softens. The silent observer within you is retreating, stepping back into the shadows, turning off the lights, locking the door to the lab. The work is done. The data has been collected. The analysis is over. Now is the time for the mystery. Now is the time for the dark. The universe is playing a game of peekaboo with you, and you have closed your eyes. You are hiding in the safety of the void. And in this hiding, reality becomes a blanket of probability that wraps you up warm and tight. The collapse has been averted. The wave is rising. It lifts you up gently, effortlessly. You are drifting on the surface of the deep black ocean of the unmanifested. Everything that was solid has melted into air, into thin air, and you are floating in it, lighter than a feather, lighter than an atom, lighter than a thought. The silent observer is asleep. The reality is asleep, and you are asleep.
We drift away now from the shadowed lecture hall and the mysteries of the observer, leaving behind the walls of the university and the confines of the earth itself, allowing our consciousness to float upwards, higher and higher, past the clouds, past the moon, venturing out into the deep velvet silence of interstellar space. We are moving into the modern era of physics, into the second half of the 20th century, where the focus shifts from the particles themselves to the space between them,
and we find ourselves floating in the vast, seemingly empty void between the galaxies. To the naked eye, this space looks like a perfect, pitch-black nothingness, a cold and lonely vacuum where absolutely nothing exists, a place of ultimate silence and ultimate stillness. For centuries, we believed that if you took a box and removed all the atoms, all the light, and all the heat, you would be left with a true void, a container of zero, a space of absolute emptiness. But as we float here in this imaginary spaceship of the mind, modern quantum field theory whispers a different secret to us, a secret that transforms the cold void into a warm, living embrace. We discover that there is no such thing as empty space. Instead, the universe is filled to the brim with invisible, fluid-like substances called quantum fields. Imagine looking out at a calm, dark ocean at night, stretching out in all directions to the horizon, the surface smooth and glassy, reflecting the starlight. From a distance, it looks empty and still, but you know that just beneath the surface there is water, there is depth, there is substance. The universe is exactly like that ocean. It is not empty. It is a plenum. It is full. It is an ocean of energy that permeates every inch of reality, from the space between the stars to the space inside your own body. There is an electron field, like a fluid that fills the entire cosmos, and every electron in your body is just a little ripple, a little knot of energy in this vast underlying field. There is a photon field, a quark field, a gluon field, all layered on top of each other, weaving together to form the fabric of existence. Visualize this now as a series of soft, transparent veils, or better yet, as a vast, comfortable mattress that spans the entire universe. You are not floating in a void. You are resting on this mattress. You are cradled by these fields. This realization brings a profound sense of connection and support, for it means that you are never truly alone. You are never separated from the whole. The ground beneath you is solid, but the space around you is also solid in its own ghostly way. And this ocean is not dead. It is alive. It is breathing. It is shimmering with a phenomenon known as vacuum fluctuations. Even in the deepest dark, even at absolute zero, the fields are gently vibrating, unable to be completely still because of the uncertainty principle we learned about earlier. Energy is constantly borrowing itself from the future, creating tiny pairs of particles that pop into existence for the briefest fraction of a second and then dissolve back into the sea. Imagine these fluctuations as the foam on the waves of the ocean, or as the gentle rhythmic rising and falling of a sleeping chest. The universe is humming. It has a heartbeat. It has a low, steady vibration that physicists call the zero-point energy. It is the minimum amount of energy that can exist, the floor of reality. And it is not zero. It is a hum, a lullaby that has been playing since the beginning of time. As you lie in your bed, you can tune into this imaginary hum, this cosmic background noise that is soft, white, and infinitely soothing. Visualize the space in your room, the air around your bed, not as empty distance, but as a thick, comforting soup of potential. Tiny invisible sparks of energy are dancing around you like fireflies in a summer meadow, appearing and disappearing in silence, a microscopic ballet that weaves a protective cocoon around your sleep. This is the breathing of the cosmos. Inhale, exhale, creation, dissolution. It is a rhythm that matches your own breath. As you breathe in, imagine you are drawing energy from this infinite field, and as you breathe out, imagine you are sinking back into it, dissolving your stress into the vast, absorbent ocean of the vacuum. The modern physicist does not see the world as a collection of hard, isolated marbles, but as a continuous landscape of rolling hills and valleys made of energy. You are a hill in this landscape. You are a temporary rise in the field. And sleep is the process of flattening out, of lowering your energy, of merging back with the calm, flat surface of the sea. The tension in your muscles is just an excitation of the field, a wave that is too high. And now, with every second that passes, that wave is settling down. The waters are calming. The storm is over. The surface is becoming glass again. There is a deep existential comfort in the idea of the field. It implies that everything is one. There is no me and you and the space between us. There is only the field. We are all just different waves on the same ocean. We are all made of the same fabric. This removes the burden of separation. It removes the fear of isolation. You are part of the structure of the universe, woven into it so tightly that you could never fall out. You are supported by the laws of physics, supported by the energy of the vacuum, supported by the very nature of space itself. As you drift deeper into this visualization, imagine that the room you are in is filled with a soft, bioluminescent glow, the glow of the vacuum fluctuations. It is a light that does not disturb, a light that is felt rather than seen, a warmth that penetrates deep into your bones. It is the warmth of existence. The vacuum is not cold, it is teeming with life potential. It is the soil from which everything grows. You are a seed resting in this cosmic soil, safe, protected, and dormant. The chaotic noise of the macroscopic world, the traffic, the voices, the demands, all of that is far away on the surface of the ocean. But you are sinking down to the depths, to the bottom of the sea, where the water is still and heavy and silent. Down here, in the realm of the quantum fields, there is no noise. There is only the gentle pressure of the water, holding you together, holding you down.
Gravity itself is just a curve in this field, a gentle slope that guides you towards rest. Let yourself slide down that slope. Let yourself be heavy. The fields are elastic. They catch you. They are like a trampoline that has stopped bouncing, holding you in the center, in the sweet spot of gravity. The concept of empty space is gone from your mind, replaced by the concept of the plenum, the fullness. It feels cozy. It feels like being wrapped in a thick, heavy duvet that is made of the universe itself. The vacuum fluctuations are like the purring of a giant invisible cat, a vibration of contentment that permeates the room. You can feel it in your fingertips, in your toes, a tingling sensation of relaxation. The science tells us that particles are just excitations of these fields, meaning you are literally a song being sung by the universe. And tonight, the song is a lullaby. The tempo is slowing down. The notes are becoming longer, softer, deeper. The high-pitched frequencies of the day are fading away, leaving only the bass, the low resonant thrum of the vacuum. This is the sound of silence. This is the sound of peace. The ocean of fields is vast, stretching out for billions of light years, past the moon, past the sun, past the Milky Way, to the very edge of the observable universe, and you are connected to all of it. The field that is under your head is the same field that is under the most distant star. You are touching the infinite, and the infinite is touching you back, gentle and calm. There is no need to struggle against such vastness.
You can only surrender to it. You can only float. Imagine yourself back in that spaceship of the mind, opening the airlock and stepping out, not into a terrifying void, but into a warm, shimmering bath of starlight and energy. You float weightless, untethered, drifting in the current of the cosmos. The stars are your nightlights. The galaxies are your mobiles spinning slowly overhead. The vacuum is your bed. It is a place of absolute safety, for nothing can harm you here in the fundamental layer of reality. Here, you are just energy. You are just light. You are just a ripple fading into the calm. The modern understanding of the universe is not jagged or harsh. It is smooth, continuous, and deeply interconnected. It is a web of fields that supports everything. And as you understand this, you feel a final layer of resistance melting away. You don't have to hold yourself up. The field does it for you. You don't have to keep your heart beating. The field does it for you. You don't have to force sleep to come. The field brings it to you, rising up like a tide to cover the sand. The tide is coming in. The water is warm. The ocean of energy is rising. It covers your feet, your legs, your chest, your neck. It covers your eyes. You are submerged in the peace of the quantum world. The vacuum fluctuations are popping like tiny, silent bubbles of joy, releasing you from the waking world, carrying you down, down, down into the deep, dark, nourishing sleep of the universe. The field is still, the ocean is calm, and you are home.
We have traveled so very far tonight, journeying from the leather-bound quiet of the Victorian library through the glowing mysteries of the black-body oven, past the dancing photons of Einstein and the misty islands of Heisenberg, and finally into the shimmering ocean of quantum fields. And now we have reached the end of the road, the final frontier of our voyage, where the science stops and the silence begins. It is time to let go of the concepts, time to let go of the names and the dates and the theories, time to release the very idea of understanding, for you have arrived at the edge of the quantum void, the peaceful, timeless nothingness that lies beneath the fabric of reality. Imagine yourself now, not as a person with a name and a history, but simply as a collection of stardust, a gathering of ancient atoms that have been traveling since the dawn of time to reach this moment of perfect rest. Your body is heavy, sinking deeper and deeper into the mattress, but your consciousness is becoming light, untethering itself from the physical world, preparing to drift into the grand universal lullaby. Visualize the atoms in your arms and legs, those tiny solar systems we spoke of, and imagine that they are slowing down, their spinning electrons relaxing their pace, the frantic energy of the day dissipating into the cool, dark space around you. In the quantum world, there is a state known as the ground state, the lowest possible energy level an atom can possess, a state of absolute stability and calm. And tonight, you are entering your own ground state. You are shedding the excess energy, shedding the worries, shedding the thoughts, allowing your frequency to drop lower and lower, matching the slow, deep thrum of the earth itself. The universe is expanding, stretching out in all directions, carrying the galaxies apart, creating more and more space, and you can feel that expansion within your own mind, a widening of the horizons, a clearing of the clutter,
creating a vast, empty room where sleep can enter. You are drifting into the void, but it is not a scary place. It is a velvet sanctuary, a place of infinite potential where nothing is required of you. Imagine that you are floating in deep space, far away from any star, far away from any planet, suspended in the comforting weightlessness of the vacuum. It is dark here, a rich, nourishing darkness that rests your eyes and soothes your soul. There is no up or down in this void, no left or right, no past or future, only the eternal present moment, only the soft, rhythmic sound of your own breathing, which echoes the expansion and contraction of the cosmos. Inhale darkness, exhale light. Inhale peace, exhale tension. You are dissolving. The boundaries of your skin are fading. The distinction between you and the universe is blurring, just as the wave function blurs the position of the particle. You are becoming the field. You are becoming the space. The iron in your blood was forged in the heart of a dying star, and now that star is singing you to sleep, a low gravitational hum that vibrates in your chest. The calcium in your bones, the carbon in your cells, it all remembers the beginning of time. It all remembers the silence before the Big Bang, and it is longing to return to that silence.
Let yourself go back. Let yourself return to the source. The concept of time is melting away, turning into a fluid dimension that flows slowly, like thick honey, dripping drop by drop into the ocean of the night. Einstein taught us that time is relative, that it slows down near heavy objects, and sleep is the heaviest object of all. A massive planet of rest that is bending the time around you, slowing the clock, stretching the seconds into minutes, the minutes into hours. The ticking of the clock on the wall is slowing down, tick, tock, tick, tock, until the space between the ticks becomes infinite, a gap of silence that you can fall into. You are falling gently, like a feather dropping in a vacuum, drifting down through the layers of consciousness. The alpha waves of your brain are smoothing out, becoming the slow, rolling delta waves of deep sleep, large, ocean-like swells of electrical peace. You are no longer observing the universe, so the universe is free to be whatever it wants, and what it wants to be right now is a cradle made of dark matter, that mysterious, invisible substance that holds the galaxies together. Feel the dark matter wrapping around you, a heavy, invisible blanket that adds a comforting weight to your body, pressing you down, holding you safe, ensuring you do not drift too far. You are held by the gravity of sleep. It is a force as strong as the one that holds the moon in orbit. You cannot fight it, and you do not want to fight it. You surrender to the pull. You surrender to the physics of rest. As you drift deeper, imagine the particles of your thoughts simply decaying, breaking apart into smaller, harmless fragments, dissolving like sugar in warm water. The narrative of your life is pausing. The story is over for today. The book is closed. The equations are erased. There is only the white noise of the universe, the cosmic microwave background radiation, a faint static hiss that has been filling the sky for 13 billion years, a natural white noise machine provided by creation itself. Listen to it. It is the sound of ancient silence. It is the sound of the void. It washes over you, cleansing you of the day's data, wiping the slate clean. You are becoming transparent. You are becoming a ghost of energy.
You are drifting through the walls of your room, drifting up through the roof, drifting into the cool night air, becoming one with the wind, one with the night. The stars above are watching you, blinking their quantum eyes, sending down streams of entangled photons to kiss your face. You are connected to them. You are one of them, a sleeping star, a dormant sun, waiting to arise again, but not yet, not yet. Now is the time for the eclipse. Now is the time for the shadow. The shadow is cool and refreshing. It covers you completely. The uncertainty principle is now your greatest comfort, for you are uncertain where your body ends and the bed begins, uncertain where the dream starts and the reality ends, and in that uncertainty there is bliss. There is no need to define anything. There is no need to measure anything. You are simply existing, a point of consciousness floating in an infinite sea of fields. The vacuum fluctuations we spoke of are rocking you, tiny waves of energy appearing and disappearing, a microscopic massage for your spirit.
The universe is breathing you in and out. You are a thought in the mind of the cosmos, and the cosmos is meditating. It is quieting its mind, and as it does, you become quiet too. The silence is profound. It is heavy. It fills your ears like water. It fills your mind like a thick fog. The last remnants of the waking world are drifting away, like a ship disappearing over the horizon, its sails fading into the mist. Let it go. Let the ship sail. You remain on the shore of the subconscious. You remain in the soft sand of sleep. The grains of sand are the quanta, the tiny packets of reality, and you are sinking into them. The deeper you sink, the safer you are. The laws of physics are protecting you here. Conservation of energy means your energy is not lost. It is just stored, saved, recharged. You are a battery plugged into the universal outlet. You are recharging in the void. The darkness is not empty. It is full of potential. It is the womb of tomorrow. But for now, it is just the dark, beautiful, soft, endless dark. Your eyes are heavy, sealed shut by the weak nuclear force, glued together by the desire to rest. Your jaw is relaxed. Your hands are open. Your heart is beating slowly, a rhythmic drum in the distance. Thump, 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 thump. It is the only signal left in the void, and soon even that sound will fade into the background. You are drifting into the deepest layer of the quantum realm, the place where space and time lose their meaning, where identity dissolves, where you are everything and nothing. This is the universal lullaby. It has no words, it has no melody. It is just the vibration of existence. Om, the hum of the atoms, the song of the quarks. It is singing you down, down into the heavy, velvet sleep, down into the restorative blackness, down into the dreamless void. You are safe. You are held. You are home. The particles of your body are at rest. The waves of your mind are still. The universe is asleep. And now, finally, so are you. Drifting, floating, sleeping. Good night, traveler of the stars. Good night, observer of the light. Good night, child of the universe. The quantum void welcomes you. Sleep, sleep, sleep.